Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of the Prediction Show. It is Thursday, the 28th of November, and we have the Europa League to dig into in this episode. So many games. Manchester United are playing, Rangers away, Ajax are away, Fenerbahce are away. Some great games. And then, of course, we've got the Conference League, or Chelsea's League, as it should be called. If they don't win this, there's something seriously wrong. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, and I'm also going to show you a couple of new features that have launched on the website in the last 24 hours. There's also a Black Friday deal, so stick around for that. And before we get started, there was no Champions League video for Wednesday, which is a real shame because this happened on Tuesday. A perfect night. Wrexham over Evans. We talked about how you've got to take that if you see it pretty much in most games this season. They got the job done, 1-0 at home, following on from a 3-0 win, which we also looked at on Friday's video last Friday. Brest to get the most cards at 1.95 away at Barcelona. It was, I think, 4-0 in the end in terms of the card count, and the odds for that one dropped dramatically, 1.95 we got it at. And then, of course, the double containing both English teams in the Champions League on that night. Manchester City and Arsenal, both BTTS. Well done if you got on those. And there was no Wednesday video because we didn't hit the threshold for likes. 500 is what we need. And the same applies for this video if you want to see a video on Friday morning as well, which will cover all of Friday's games. Just let me know by liking, commenting, and if you've not subscribed already, what are you playing at? Just a quick plug for X as well before we get going. I've started to post daily doubles and daily trebles, and this one yesterday, this landed. This was a treble using some new features from the Betslip Generator, which I will show you towards the end of this video. You can now select over 0.5 goals on the Betslip Generator, and these were all value bets as well, so you can see a treble there. Basically just every home team to score in these games. 1.5 odds in the Indian Super League. I believe that game was 4-2. So there is quite a lot of value to be had here with this new market, and I will be posting these every morning at about 8-9 a.m. UK time. We're also going to be checking out the last 10 data for all Europa League teams. This is the last 10 data across all competitions, and we will get to that. But first, congratulations to this user. You have won a month of OddAlerts Pro. Well done to you. I will be in touch. And if you want to win OddAlerts Pro tonight, let me know in the comments. What is the score going to be between Manchester United and Bodo Glimt? Get your predictions in the comments for that game and any other Europa League game that is being played tonight. Get your predictions in. What are you betting on? What do you like from this video? What do you think, Joe, that's not a good selection? And I'll see you in the comments. So let's get started then with the Europa League games for today. We will look at that, put some predictions together. Galatasaray away from home, as we saw before. Manchester United are hosting Bodo Glimt. Now, you would expect Amorim to get his first win there. The probability model is. And let's have a look at the odds. The odds for the victory are 1.22, which seem very, very low. I mean, of course, they are expected to win, but Bodo Glimt are a very good goal-scoring team. And the value in this game might be for them to just simply score at Old Trafford tonight. Let me know what you think about this one. They've scored in all but one game, including goals against Porto. If we look at their away form in general, a couple of blanks, to be fair. One in the Europa League and then one against Tromsø. What might be interesting is to look at Sporting's form. How many goals did they concede under Amorim? Are they a team that would, score 4, even if it meant conceding 2, score 4, 5, 6, as they usually did? But Bodo Glimt, they are a good team. They've got good pedigree in recent years as well in Europe. And they come into this game having scored 2 or more goals in 5 of the last 6 games. They scored against Qarabag in the previous round. Over 2.5 goals could be an option if you don't want to go with them to score, but you think, it's likely that they will and the Man United bounce back. So 1.97 for BTTS on Pinnacle there. Let's have a look at the probability model for BTTS. and see what it is saying for this. So 1.66, so it is a value bet, this actually, in terms of BTTS. Let me know what you think about that one. Manchester United surely will begin to improve under Amorim, but in terms of XG against Ipswich, it was Ipswich certainly in the second half that continued to threaten Manchester United's goal, and those defenders that they've got might take them a couple of weeks, maybe a month, to get into the swing of things in terms of that high pressing system that Amorim wants them to do. So 1.95, and yes, we will be doing man versus machine in this episode as well. The machine is on a perfect record since last week, 6 predictions out of 6. I can't compete with that, can I? The machine can scan everything all at once. I'm here making videos, editing videos, thinking about what competitions people will want to see. The machine doesn't care about any of that. So that's Man United, Bodo, Glimt. Let's take a look at another fixture here now, starting with Lyon away at Qarabag. It is 3 defeats out of 4 for Qarabag, but they have had a pretty tough run. Malmo, Tottenham, Ajax, Bodo, Glimt, 4 pretty tricky fixtures, especially for a team of Qarabag's level. And for Lyon, they have lost once, which was at home to Besiktas. And they've had an okay run. You would expect them to win or certainly compete in every single one of those games. If we look at their overall form, there are quite a few draws, 4 draws in the last 5 games. So if we look at cards here, actually away from home, across the last 25, Lyon have received a card in 57% of away games, which is pretty low, to be fair. Qarabag, 67%. In terms of the opponent, Qarabag's opponents getting booked quite often. But as we discussed in Discord yesterday with, what team was it? Zagreb. We had Zagreb to get the most cards in the Discord, 2.3 the odds. The odds have been incredible for that market in the Champions League. We had it with Brest, and then in the Discord yesterday, Zagreb at 2.3. And it landed quite comfortably. And I'm just thinking about it potentially here for Lyon away at Qarabag. Do you think Qarabag will get more cards than Lyon? If we look at the Europa League form only and we go to overall, we can see there is a higher card count for both of these teams. And I always think it's interesting to check both when you come to these European competitions, because Qarabag, look at their opponents per game, it's dropped drastically because they're playing better opponents. When they play in their own league, same with, a lot of these teams, someone like Mold or something, when they're playing in their own domestic league, Ludogorets as well, for example, they're obviously going to smash it and they're obviously going to get fouled a lot because they are the best teams. But when they come to the Europa League, it levels out a little bit. And they tend to get a few more cards. As we can see here, they've received 3 per game so far in the Europa League. So 1.72 for Qarabag to get the most cards at home to Lyon. We'll keep that on. And what we'll do is we'll, add to this, and then we will trim the fat at the end of the video, or towards the end of the video. So let's just observe the probability model for a moment as well. We've got Frankfurt away at Midtjylland. That is a highly rated game for BTTS, 1.64 implied odds, as is Manchester United, Bodo Glimt, one of the highest. So this is the thing, if the model is suggesting that BTTS is high, yet the odds for Man United are 1.22, it's not really worth going just for the home win, is it? You might as well go home win and over 2.5 goals, or home win and BTTS, or, there's a few different options you can go with. Now then, let's take a look at Tottenham hosting Roma. This will be a big European night, won't it? Under the lights in that fantastic stadium that Tottenham have, and they will be hoping to repeat the performance. But knowing Spurs, they'll probably lose this game 2-0, after beating City so convincingly, and the players that, performed in that game. I mean, Kulusevski is just an incredible player, incredible talent, got everything. And we thought they would struggle without the 2 centre-backs, but they were challenged in the first 10-15 minutes, to be fair, and looked like Haaland should have scored a couple of goals. But this is the away form of of Roma, and as you can see, it's not very good. In all competitions, across both home and away fixtures, they have won just once since the 24th of October when they beat Dynamo Kiev. This is the form that got the manager sacked, and in comes Claudio Ranieri. He is now the new gaffer, and I think he was in place for this Napoli defeat, a 1-0 defeat away at Napoli, which, you know, there's not much shame in that, given how Roma have been playing, given the sort of squad. It's not as good as the teams that are up at the top of Serie A. But this will be an interesting game. Claudio Ranieri in the dugout in England once more, and he will become a sporting director when the season ends. He's a interim coach, and here we can see not many draws at all for Tottenham this season since the opening game, I think it was actually, the Leicester City game. They don't draw many games. They're coming off the back of that 4-0 win, as we discussed. What are you thinking for this game? What are your thoughts? It's a tricky one to call just because it is Tottenham. In terms of the Europa League form only, Roma have scored 3 goals compared to the 8 of Spurs. Now, the odds for this one, 1.7. Not fantastic, to be honest. The probability model giving Spurs odds of 1.95, which would be a little bit more enticing, wouldn't it, if you were adding it to any potential bet slips? I am going to leave that one in terms of our own bet slip, but let me know what you think in the comments. We are going to jump now to the last 10 data, where we can just have a little browse of this and then jump back to the stats, and hopefully that can guide us a little bit more. Maybe it'll guide us on the games to go and check out, because we can see Lazio here against Ludogorets. Ludogorets have won 6 of their last 10, Lazio 9. So no team has won more games than Lazio in the last 10. That is 9 out of 10 for Lazio. They are hosting Ludogorets. That should be an interesting one to check out, Ludogorets. No pushovers, you know, they're more than capable of scoring goals there. Galatasaray away at AZ Alkmaar, who have won just 2 of their last 10 games. Incidentally, no team has won fewer. Roma also on 2, who we just checked out against Tottenham. Look, you might as well, if you want, put Tottenham in the slip, but just remember, they are Tottenham. They are more than capable of beating City 4-0 and then drawing or losing with Roma. So we'll jump to the defeats, and we see that Galatasaray and Ajax are unbeaten. I think after looking at those, you know, home, the wins, the draws and the defeats, let's check out Galatasaray. And let's check out Lazio Ludogorets as well, shall we? Wrong tab. So Lazio versus Ludogorets. Lazio are favourites. As we see with Ludogorets in the Europa League this season, they have not performed at all. They've scored 1 goal, which is a little bit surprising for them, given they score so much in their domestic league. As we can see here, they're unbeaten all season, scoring 2 or more goals in the majority of games. Lazio, on the other hand, at home this season have been near perfect, unbeaten since early March at home. Fantastic. They beat Porto at home in the Europa League already. They beat Bologna in the previous game, which is good going, because Bologna, before that game, had only lost once in Serie A, and they're scoring more than 1 goal in the majority of these games as well. So what do you think about this one? I'm going to jump to the card section as well, just to see that the opponents are receiving 4.25 cards per game. If we look at the last 25 games, just to get a bit of a bigger context window here, we go to overall, and we can see that the opponents for Ludogorets receiving 3 cards per game, 2.71 for Lazio. Let's jump to this game, because I've got a bit of an idea in my head about this one. Of course, team to get the most cards is something I'm looking at now with all of these European fixtures. So Lazio to score over 1 goal, 1.36. These odds are pretty terrible. Team to get the most cards, Ludogorets 1.66 as well. It's expected, isn't it, that this is going to be a tricky game for Ludogorets. Tricky to extract value in this game when they are so dominant, but what I might go for is a second half goal. It's not worth it, guys. At 1.28, it's just not great, is it? Now on to AZ hosting Galatasaray, and AZ, we saw in that data on the last 10, they've won just 2 of the last 10, and this is it. We can see here the 2 wins have come quite recently, and in terms of home games, they are scoring in the majority, aren't they? They've had a bit of an iffy run recently. What enticed me to this game before I started to record the video was actually the odds for Galatasaray are not bad at all, 2.15. The thing with Galatasaray is if they turn it on, they can beat any team in the Europa League, I believe. They've beat Tottenham in the previous round, of course. They haven't lost a game of football since August, and that was in the Champions League qualifying. That's why they are playing this game today. BTTS could be interesting for this one. Galatasaray, they had BTTS away from home against Rigas, didn't they? The odds were great for that, over evens as well. In terms of 2024, they've scored in every single away game that they have played. Galamustache. Let's take a look at the odds. So BTTS 1.5, a bit lower than I thought that was going to be. We could go double chance, draw, or Galatasaray, and then maybe over 1.5 goals. It's not great. 1.57 that gets to. You could then also look at some cards as well. AZ to get over one card gets it to evens, which I think, if we look at that there, match result will be draw or Galatasaray, over one goal for the game, not for either team, and over one card for AZ. Both teams to score in the Manchester United Bodo Glimt game, and Qarabag to get the most cards. This is 6.73, and I kind of don't want to remove anything from it, although it's usually higher than I would usually go for. But if we are thinking about man versus machine, then I need to catch up in terms of the point tally, don't I? So let me know what you think about these three. We will check out one more game. So let's jump to goals now. Let's see who's scoring the most goals. Anderlecht against Porto. Anderlecht have scored 29 in the last 10 games. Ajax also up there with 26. Galatasaray, of course, up there. Lazio, as we saw, in great form, but the odds are not really that great. In terms of goals conceded as well, Lazio just 6, Ludogorets just 7. So potentially you could put together a single for that game. I just think the odds aren't there. I was going to say under 4 goals and Lazio to win, but I just don't think it's worth it in terms of the odds. Now let's look at over 2.5 goals. Qarabag, who are playing Lyon, 8 out of the last 10. Porto, Anderlecht keeps popping up, doesn't it? So that is a game that we will check out. Porto against Anderlecht. So both of these teams have scored 2.29 goals per game across this period. No nil-nils for Porto in this period. Let's see how they have started the Europa League campaign. They are unbeaten, Anderlecht, and Porto have lost 2 of their 4 games, and they've won just once against Hoffenheim. Away from home, they've lost their opening 2 games. Had a pretty tricky opening 4 fixtures, to be honest. Anderlecht, apart from these Dynamo Minsk games, they were qualifying. They played Ferencváros, Real Sociedad, Ludogorets, and Rigas. Rigas BTTS. I might check that out again. If you've watched the channel this season, you'll know that Rigas BTTS started off so well for us, and then it was a 0-0 after that, wasn't it? They're at home to PAOK, which could be an okay selection. So if we look at all competitions, what you can do on the results tab is go to over 2.5 goals, and then it will be green or red based on if it is over 2.5 goals. So you can see the majority of these games are green. For Porto, the last 4 games have seen over 2.5 goals, the last 5 out of the last 6. And just finally, looking at the results, Porto come into this with 3 defeats in the last 3 games. Tough games for them. They played Lazio away, Benfica away, which they scored in both of these games as well, by the way. They've scored in every one of these defeats. Just looking at the timing data as well here, Porto, across the last 25 games, 1.41 goals scored per second half. In terms of conceding in the second half, it is marginally more for Anderlecht as well. In terms of the split between the goals, there are more goals in the second half for both of these teams. And Porto have scored a second half goal in 76% of their games across this last 25 period. This is home or away. If we go to away form, drops to 64%. If we look at home form only, 71% for Anderlecht. In terms of conceding in the second half, it is pretty low for both of these teams, but you've got to weigh up again the Europa League factor. These are 2 teams that are not used to playing against teams of this quality, and that applies for both Anderlecht and Porto, I feel. So I'm going to go with Porto to score in the second half. This gets us to 10.88, so let's take a moment and trim the fat on this. So I'm going to remove the Manchester United game from it. And that takes it to 5.58. And I am happy with that, to be honest. And let me know what you think. Man United probably finished 4-4 now or something. So let's go over this and then we'll go to the Betslip Generator, the machine, and generate a similar type of bet slip using the target odds, and then we will see who does better, man or machine, in the next video. And remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Every comment automatically entered into a draw to win OddAlerts Pro. So we've got Galatasaray to draw or win away at AZ, who have won just 2 of their last 10 games, over 1.5 goals in that game, and over 1 card for AZ Alkmaar. And Qarabag to get the most cards at home to Lyon, not having the best of times at the moment, Qarabag. And then Porto to score a second half goal in that game away at Anderlecht. Let me know what you think about this one, 5.58. Now, let's go to the Betslip Generator, the machine, and I will show you a brand new feature that has launched there in the last couple of days. Just a quick one. Sorry to come back after creating the Betslip, but I've just stumbled across something here. Using one of the new probability model values, Fenerbahce to score a goal away at Slavia Praha. They've scored in every game. For them to score a goal tonight is 1.4. Fenerbahce to score a single goal. Let's have a look at this. I think that's pretty good. Usually you would expect it 1.28 or something like that. Fenerbahce to score a single goal. Now, you don't have to add this on to our existing one if you don't want, but I think that's a good option if you are putting together a double or a treble tonight. Fenerbahce to score a single goal. Now, let's jump to the Betslip Generator as planned, because we're going to, generate something and do another round of man versus machine. So this is the Betslip Generator, and we are going to look at target odds of 5.58. And because that is what me, the man, in this man versus machine segment has selected here, we can see the slip again, 5.58. Minimum odds, let's put this back to 1.2, between 1.2 and 3. Time frame, next 24 hours is okay. Value bets only, we'll leave this on. Home wins, draws, away wins, we'll select that. We select over 1.5 goals as well. Let's have over 2.5 goals in there. Let's put BTTS in there. Let's put the double chances in there as well. And I just wanted to show you these 2 new markets at the bottom, over 0.5 goals for the home team and the away team. So as we just saw with Fenerbahce there, that might be a value bet. It probably is 1.4 based on the model. For them to score a single goal, 1.4 is pretty tasty, I think. So let's hit get and see what we get. So then 4.81 is the peak odds given the settings that we put in. We can hit run again if you want to, but we will see what we've got in this list. We've got some value. Remember, these are all value bets. We've got value bets for over 2.5 goals in the Asian AFC Cup. Costa Rica, we've got the Conference League here, 1x. Double chance for TNS against Jakarta, and that should be an interesting game. 2 very dominant teams in their own respected countries. We've got games here from Jordan, from Ethiopia, from Armenia. The Asian AFC Cup is popular. Yeah, we've got women's football as well in here. Let's take a look at the top one, because this is the highest in terms of the target odds. We want to try and match the 5.58, don't we? So let's go with this one. Ethiopia, Medin, away or draw. Probability model is giving it a 71.42% chance. It is a value bet, of course. And then on Friday at midnight, so yeah, midnight, we've got a home win in Bolivia, and then another home win an hour later in Costa Rica. So let me save this so we can track it, and then I'll update you on the next episode about man versus machine. At the moment, machine has not missed a single prediction. It has got every single prediction right so far, including I think it was a 4.5 fold on Friday's video. And then on the live stream, an unbelievable set of predictions, which even when I generated them, I thought, nah, come on. They had Wigan to get something away at Barnsley with the double chance. So, yeah, machine is better than me. I've got no qualms in saying that. My creation is smarter than me. I'm quite happy to say that, to be honest. And you can use it right here. oddalerts.com/app/Betslip Generator, or just go to oddalerts.com and you'll see a link at the top of the page. Now, I mentioned a Black Friday deal, and there is one coming. Stay tuned to X on Thursday night and Friday, and you'll be the first to know. Set notifications on if you need to. Also, get in the Discord. I will be posting it in there as well. Go to oddalerts.com/Discord if you want to join. And that is it for now. Remember, if you want a video tomorrow, 500 likes is the requirement. If not, then I will see you in the Discord. Have a great day.